The next story that we have up, well, an incident that occurred actually on a cruise liner over the weekend here. And when I saw the video, I mean, it was just, whoa, it's just mind blowing. Thankfully, nobody, there was no fatalities, but somebody was very, very much hurt right here. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this story right here. This from Local 10. Cruise ship returns to Port Miami after man suffers injuries when water slides acrylic glass breaks. Goodness gracious. The Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, a cruise ship that has been in service for just over a year, returned to Port Miami Saturday after a man was injured in the Category 6 water park. Witnesses shared videos that captured shouting after a curve of the frightening bolt, a drop-style water slide cracked, leaving a hole when there were people inside actually going through. When the other gentleman went down, it sliced him, and then glass fell and the water gushed. Lillian Stefano said no one fell through. Thank God. According to Royal Caribbean, the acrylic glass broke off. The guest who was injured received medical treatment, and the water slide was closed pending the result of an investigation. And you can see right here what that looked like. I'm going to play the video very, very shortly, but I just want to go ahead and give you an idea of what you're looking at and what we're seeing right here. You can see the water gushing out, and you see a big hole in that glass right there. Fortunately, nobody did fall out, so there is video on social media with somebody falling out. That is fake.
Oh, I was wondering because I almost sent it in before. We'll collect links and then we'll vet them later, generally speaking.
Right. Yeah, and usually that's kind of how we proceed with all of our that park stories. Is we get pretty much every single thing we can possibly find, and go through that. In this case, that's what we did here, and I could find no account and no other video supporting that evidence right there. So it's reasonable to assume that it is fake right here. This is very interesting because this Icon of the Seas is one of the largest cruise liners in the world. And it's only a year old, and it's already had a number of incidents related to it. Actually, there was an altercation that took place while on board the Icon of the Seas, in which, one crew member actually passed away from that event right there. So it's no good. This is not what you want to see. But let me go ahead and play the video right here. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of a drop style water slide, as we were mentioning before, in which you kind of stand on like a platform right over the slide, and then it releases and you fall through and you actually go through the water slide itself. I've got some video of that to show that exercise right there. But that the way it functions actually makes it particularly dangerous in this instance, because the crew members operating that attraction nor the people that might be in queue know that this is actually happening and going on. This is why you have a bunch of people shouting, "Stop the slide," because visibility is actually an issue here. Jonas, I know that cruise liners and cruise ship designs are getting far more ambitious with the number of attractions actually on board. But regular maintenance and safety issues, they become that much more paramount.
Right.
Your thoughts on this?
Right. Well, if this happened at a random theme park, I don't think it would be getting the attention that it's getting here. The fact that it is on a cruise ship adds a little bit of extra speculation to it here. That's quite the drop, by the way. I also want to point out you definitely don't want to be falling that far out of a water slide. However, if it was just a very short fall, then that would be a completely different thing. Also, that's the terrifying thing about these ones where it's a standing drop. The idea that you're going to have a full impact in that one spot, which I have to wonder if people are hitting right there. It must be something where they're either the maximum amount of force is hitting right there. I'm not going to use the right engineering term. Just anyone who's an engineer out there, forgive me. Whatever amount of force is hitting that spot. I don't know if that's the redirect point. I don't think people would be impacting right there from that drop because they would hurt themselves anyways. But that's a lot of energy and weight hitting that one spot. So I would tend to think that that's more a spot that's getting more exerted upon it than it should.
The impact at that transition point, that was the word you were looking for. That transition, it normally under most of these slide designs is a solid colored plastic. It is a thicker plastic than the acrylic portion that is where that impact point would be that you were describing. I'm not sure if that the composition or materials scientists would have to probably get involved in that as to whether or not the durability could be relied on at for that acrylic version of the slide or that piece. But I mean the other components are made of fiberglass, completely different composition,
right?
Much more resilient, and usually in a slide like this you're not seeing that. Look at how the slide is built. I mean, that's the only place where you have two sections that are acrylic, right? Rather than the fiberglass pieces on that transition.
Right, that's the showpiece because they want everybody to be seeing that so they know exactly what's going on there. They want everyone to see for the show purpose here. But this is just even more of a reason, even though we work in basically the travel industry on some level here, man. As an MBA student, when you go through everything that can go wrong for a company, cruise ships are absolutely near the top of that list. When you want to handle messaging for disasters, you go to cruise ships for the case studies over and over again. When people get sick on cruise ships, when there's a plumbing issue that is affecting the entire cruise, the entire you go to cruise ships. If that was a panel that just fell out at a random water park, okay, maybe. But look at this. It's just I look at that and I think to myself, no, thank you.
My folks were just on that like a couple of months ago, so I'm like going. They need to ask a parental unit whether or not they tried the slide. But
the icon of the seas is 5 times bigger and heavier than the Titanic. I think that's how large
it's massive. And look, and you're right. And see, here's the other problem, right? Because we're talking about disasters, Jonas. Consider this: who is the governing body for the attractions on this cruise ship? Because they all fly under different flags.
Right, exactly. Because that's also why they get away with paying their workers much less, because their minimum wage laws are foreign countries. That's why you get so many of them docking out of, I don't know, Nassau. I don't know what the minimum wage is in Nassau. Why maybe the Disney company might want to dock in Singapore if the country of record is a foreign country. Guess what? U.S. minimum wage laws may not apply in the same way that they do in the United States. So they may be making a good wage for the host country. They may not be making a very good wage from American wage standards here. So the cruise industry is fascinating from a business case. I think I just blew somebody's mind in the chat there. This is... It's the same thing about when you get out to a certain distance, all of a sudden the casinos turn on the ship. It's because the rule of law is different at sea than it is on land.
Maritime law. And you can have a maritime, just be careful because apparently your slide could slice you.
I don't know what happens if you try to sue a company like this as well. It would. I wonder if you sue, do you have to go to maritime court? I don't quite know.
But you have a governing cruise document that actually lays out how any of those types of things will proceed. So look at the extreme fine print, and I'm sure you'll find that it's laid out for you there just how few rights you do have. So, hey, I'm going to help the cruise industry out today. Can you tell?
Look at that. I would walk through between those two ships and think to myself, looking up, nope, this is a zombie movie waiting to happen.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to go to
see. There it is.
Maritime court as arbitrated by King Triton, and then his representation.
There you
I don't know what's going on.
He ends every single trial with "Heaven help me, I'm going to get through to you."
That's right. That's right.
Good stuff.
That guy's letting you know to cry. I was going to say
he refuses to wear a robe because he wants to show off his abs.
He wants to show off his abs. Yeah. Be like, here you go. Yeah, pay no attention to this. This is not a gavel. This is my trident. Enjoy. But look, I'm did I hit you with that? Anyway, no, I look at this and I'm going, okay, not to mention the fact that all the cruise employees are on some form of a contract. So everybody's like how they get paid and all of that is governed by that document. So it's like a cruise ship is just a group of contracts that are all sitting together waiting for a lawyer to get paid. That's all. That's what a cruise ship is. This is a giant bunch of contracts waiting for lawyers to get paid. That's what it is.
Right. This is a jurisdictional nightmare.
It is. That thing is too big.
Absolutely.
The boat is too big.
7,600 people, I think, is the capacity on this thing. I mean,
That's
this thing is
also too
massive.
big.
But also too, the attractions are just so ambitious now. I mean, you've got like go-kart tracks on top of these things now. You have a myriad of water slides and so forth.
Okay,
and so
why are we showing these poor fools about to get sliced up? This is not great.
This is
all of these previous.
This is the pre-sliced bread moment right here.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well, all of these previous guests, they were fine. But there is no issue until something actually goes wrong right there. I do find your the what you were saying interesting, Culture, about like, where the force is actually moved in this particular way. Some people were saying that because like this portion of the acrylic was actually exposed to UV.
That doesn't help either. Yeah. Materials scientists would say it would definitely help with the depletion of the oils and things that help with the bond holding it together. So, and again, it's one of the reasons why you don't use clear plastic piping in a pool system if you can avoid it.
I imagine there's some engineer going, I told you guys this was going to happen.
This was dumb.
You didn't listen to me. I have the documentation here.
I'm telling you, you could the place that you could definitely show off the terrible thing that was about to happen to you would have been in the downward pipe. But see, notice they didn't even do that. There's an immediate sort of transition here, probably because they're trying to reduce impact on the back. So I would say that was just a bad place to put the acrylic rather than the the fiberglass, which is a tried and true product that I've been using several times. I have to tell you that I still think, you don't need those massive transitions. You can do what Disney's done with the aqueduct and stuff like that. I mean, those types of water slides are a little safer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to an attraction where you sit on a lift hill and slowly go up while different cartoons play on the screens.
That's fun. You used to ride on the Magical Depressed.
Yeah,
it was magical on the way to the park and depressing on the way back.
I was a Florida resident, and so I never got to take the Magical Express. But now, if I stay in a deluxe resort and I go to MCO, I can pay $200 each way to be taken to and from a Disney resort.
And that was one of the free perks you got as a guest back in the days when Disney cared about your vacation experience.
I was on the Wish, and the aqueduct, see what that, or the Aqua Mouse, I don't know what they're calling it anymore, but it was available, but actually it wasn't because it was down the entire cruise. So that's great right there. Fantastic stuff.
Disney Imagineering at its finest.
Yeah. Maintenance, no matter if you're in the cruise line business or in the theme park business and so forth, it is of top concern, top priority. And like Culture said right there, good engineering goes a long way right here. Hopefully there is justice for the person that was horrifically injured in this event right here. I want to tell you, hey, look, listen, the chances of getting hurt at theme parks is low, and I think it is. But water parks, just a little bit higher if you look at those the numbers and the metrics and so forth. So, hey, just use caution where you can, I suppose.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.